Welcome back. Skin cancer is the most common form of cancer in the U.S. That's according to the CDC. It affects 1 in 5 people.
Yeah, Brandon Blackstock, Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband and Reba McEntire's stepson, recently died from melanoma at the age of 48. And this is shining a spotlight on the most dangerous form of skin cancer.
And at the same time, you may have seen this on social media, an anti-sunscreen movement is growing on several social media sites. UW Health's Dr. Jeff Potoff is here this afternoon. Hi, Dr. Potoff.
Hey, guys.
Good to see you.
Yeah, same.
So who is most at risk for melanoma?
Well, I mean, everyone's at risk for melanoma, but if you look at people who are at a little bit higher risk, if you're very fair-skinned, certainly like if you're redheaded, you have less melanin in your skin, less protection. And then people who spend a lot of time outdoors, lots of exposure. Certainly if you use a tanning booth, I feel like those aren't so common anymore, but I mean, that's pretty high risk activity for developing skin cancer too.
How does it present itself in the different skin tones? And I always wonder, like, is every little mole or growth something to keep an eye on?
Yeah, it's tricky because all of us will have kind of like benign nevus, so kind of like those brown spots. What you want to do is you just kind of want to know where you have them on your body, and then make sure they don't change. So typically what we look for is something that maybe was there before, but now it's changing color, like it's got a couple different shades of brown or black and brown. It's getting maybe a little bit bigger, like bigger than like 1/4 of an inch. The borders of it, instead of being nice and smooth, it's getting a little bit irregular. Those can be signs that something is more like a melanoma and not just a benign nevus.
It's interesting because a lot of social media sites now are claiming that sunscreen may actually be contributing to an increase in skin cancer cases. How is that possible?
It's not technically. I mean, it's not possible. That's not true. I think this is where a lot of misinformation starts. There's like a 1% kernel of something that was true, and then it's morphed into this generalized statement. So where the misinformation around sunscreen comes from is a couple of years ago there was spray sunscreen and the propellant had benzene in it.
Yeah.
That was recalled off the market. Benzene absolutely causes cancer. The misinformation is there's benzene in sunscreen and it causes cancer. There is not. So there's some like studies that look at mice who get chemical sunscreens, and at very high levels it can cause some hormone dysregulation. In humans that doesn't actually seem to happen. So all sunscreen is essentially safe for humans. If you're even a little bit worried about that, just use like the mineral sunscreens. You'll look for zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, super effective, completely safe. Doesn't cause cancer. In fact, the opposite. It prevents cancer like melanoma, which, as we saw in the intro, devastating. A 48-year-old man dead because he had melanoma.
Yeah, there's probably a fine line too, because like certain influencers who are maybe more holistic, you know, they talk about ridding yourself of chemicals and whatnot, but then there are certain things like you mentioned that you probably need to protect yourself. How do you, I guess, do your research when you see posts like that?
I think it's tricky. Like, just because someone has an opinion or a lot of followers doesn't mean they're right. So what we need to do is you got to go to medical literature, so not just like anything you find on the internet, and look into this stuff. Now, you can try to do that yourself, but it's actually a pretty impressive skill set. So instead, talk to your pediatrician or talk to your doctor. We went to school for decades to learn how to do this, and trust me, we're not out to get you. We're out there to help you. Like, that's why we like our job. So talk to people who are professionals, who are experts in this. They will lead you in the right direction, but absolutely we should be using sunscreen, not taking chances with melanoma. No one wants that.
That's great advice, and I don't know if you've noticed on a lot of sunscreens, they don't always list all of the ingredients. And even if they do, sometimes it's things that you don't even recognize.
Right. Right.
You know, is there an SPF, a basic SPF that you have to have?
Yeah, so SPF you want to be at 30. So at an SPF of 30, you're blocking 97% of those UVA, UVB rays. At 50, you're only getting to 98%. So if you think you need to spend an extra $5 for 50 instead of 30, don't worry about it. The big thing is you got to reapply it. So most sunscreens last about 2 hours. If you're out in the sun for more than 2 hours, just put another layer on.
Thank you for having this conversation with us.
Yes, very important. Thanks, Dr. Potoff. Good to see you.
Same.
And a lot of you will be going